mukhang marami tayong mapag-uusapan. We have a lot of things to talk about regards to the recent Miss Supranational happenings. Thank you very much for joining us for today. We're kind of a bit scatterbrained today because there's a lot of things that we want to discuss. We have several pointers that we wanted to make sure to cover in this live stream. We will be talking about the recent supranational, sorry about that, the recent supranational results, Miss Supranational results, what went on, what's the, what do you call this, what's the our thoughts on the win of Andrea Aguilera as Miss Supranational 2023? What are my thoughts on ano yung nagkulang sa campaign ni Pauline, as well as my thoughts on the current na lumulutang na rumors about a possible lawsuit with regards to the Supra, what do you call this, supranational, no, with regards to tourism Philippines na title ni Herlene. Will she be able to compete? What are my thoughts on the on the win ni Nikki de Moura, and yung rumors regarding Miss World Philippines no longer with ALV. So there's a lot of things that we will be talking about in today's live stream. So I do hope that everyone would, uh, hang around until we finish our live stream for today. So, una sa lahat, let's talk muna with yung situation ni Herlene. There's a lot of people who is asking me via DM on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook, kung ano na yung mangyayari doon sa title ni Herlene. Because, first of all, her title is Miss Tourism Philippines. And it is most likely that the Miss Tourism World na competition is no longer with the ALV pageant circle na, what do you call this, na 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 franchise. Kumbaga, oops, sorry about that. Somebody's messaging me on IG telling me na mahina daw ang audio ko. Okay, so let's try to put a mic. Sorry about that. Na-excite lang ako today. Kasi medyo marami tayong, as I said, we've got a lot of things to talk about. So, first things first, with regards to Herlene Budol's title, I think that yung title niya as Miss Tourism Philippines is not going to be of any conflict or of any what do you call this, of any problem at all, because nagkalat ang mga tourism na mga competitions all over. There's a lot of tourism pageants na have spot na nagsisulputan over the past several years. May Miss Tourism International, may Miss Tourism World, may Miss Tourism Queen, may kung ano pang permutations of this tourism na mga pageants. And I don't think that ALV would have a difficulty in finding a tourism pageant that pwede niyang na pwede niyang ibigay kay Herlene. So with that being said, I don't think that it would have any problem, magkakaroon tayo ng problema for Herlene to represent the Philippines internationally, because even if the Hiyas ng Pilipinas have already acquired the Miss Tourism World na nilabanan ni Justin Felizarta, I think that with a lot of tourism mga pageants, meron at merong makukuha si ALV na pwedeng puntahan ni Herlene in an international competition. And I also have learned that apparently yung Miss Tourism World na title, there is like 2 versions of it. So parang it was originally originally one title. Tapos nagkaroon ng split yung mga titles na yon, and then nagkaroon ng two organization handling that. So there might be a possibility that that is going to be a possibility for Herlene to be able to compete in, in a tourism related na title. So there. Okay, so let's So let's okay, sorry about that. May nag-pop out na mga comments na. Okay, so YouTube user pa-shout out naman daw siya. Hello YouTube user 1329. Sabi niya, Sir Jess, di ko alam if na-discuss mo na, pero I think lilipat talaga ang Miss World sa The Miss Philippines kasi nung in-announce pa lang ni Jonas na walang walang M-suit competition, it rang a bell already. Okay, Melanie Lane is also here. Sabi niya, good evening po, Sir Jason. Good evening, Melanie Lane. I do hope na maganda ang gabi ninyo wherever you are this evening. Okay, doon muna tayo sa comment ni YouTube user 1329. That's actually one of the things that I am going to be discussing kasi I have been hearing that the Miss World na franchise is no longer with ALV since 2 months ago. So medyo matagal-tagal na rin at hindi siya nawawala. If in case nga na may ganitong mga usapin na nangyayari, may mga ganitong mga developments na nangyayari, I don't think that they will be disclosing this publicly or confirming this publicly anytime soon, because most probably they will be having it having it in full disclosure, maybe somewhere closer to the Miss World Philippines or the local local search for our representative for Miss World. So it might take time before we hear any official announcement regarding that. I've heard that yung meeting before ni Gwendolyn Ferniol and ALV with Julia Morley and was posted on Facebook several weeks or perhaps a month ago. May nagbulong sa akin that photos or that meeting took place earlier in the year or late last year. So I am not sure on the validity of that information, but if in case na totoo nga na it was a meeting that happened earlier in the year pa, then we're not sure kung they just released that just to assuage just to placate yung rumors. So we cannot really say for sure whether or not the franchise is still with ALV. Pero sabi nga nila, kung may usok, may apoy. So we might have to wait for further developments on this. Because as I've said, even last year pa na itong taon na ito magkakaroon ng maraming rigudon in terms of pageant franchises, especially with the bidding war for Miss Universe na franchises earlier this year. I think that will happen, and that will have like a domino effect or a trickle down effect to other international and national na mga franchises. So we might be seeing a lot of those changing of guards in the next several weeks and several months. So this would not change. This would more likely be the scenario for the next couple of years. Okay, so Seafood for Life India for Supranational. I actually saw Mr. India. He actually looks good. So
I might be seeing, seeing him making good in the competition. Wait, was that India or was it South Africa? Oh my God, I'm sorry. I kind of forgot. I think it's South Africa. JB, hi sir. Naki-ALB pa rin ba ang Miss World? Yun na nga, JB, I just mentioned that we're not yet sure at this point in time. We're waiting for more developments on this. We've been hearing this for a couple of months now. So we might be hearing more concrete information closer to when the pageant will be launched. And I don't think that it will happen anytime soon. But for now, let's just file it in the rumors cabinet. We might be hearing more details of this probably closer towards the end of the year or closer towards the launch of the pageant, if the pageant is going to happen anytime soon. Melanie Nain, maganda naman kahit paulan, sabi niya dun sa kung nasaan siya ngayon. So I do hope na it's something na na tolerable. Where else? Comments. JB. It's Hajiev. Hello Hajiev, magandang gabi. Hello sir, sabi niya, watching while eating dinner pa. Ayan. Buti ka pa. I had an earlier dinner today. So medyo busog-busog na. May energy na for tonight's, live stream. Sabi ni JB, major title daw ang bagong isasama sa The Miss Philippines. So if that is the case, then we might be seeing, some major rigodon, major changes in the franchise owners this year. So let's just wait for actual confirmation on that, because we're also hearing that there's a possibility that the Miss Universe is already, or rather has already selected a different local partner. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, Mark Gonzalez is here. Sabi niya, good evening, Sir Jason. Your thoughts on USA and Czech Republic not making it on the top 24 as they were seen as strong contenders. I'm actually much more surprised with Czech Republic because parang, if I'm not mistaken, Czech Republic is always within the top 10 in most pageant pages predictions. So I am a little bit more shocked that she didn't move past top 24. However, I think that this year the Supranational org has already like a idea on who are their preferred candidates to make top 12, top 5. So I think we have to look at the prototype of the Miss Supranational na pageant in terms of who they usually pick for their winners. I think that this year they have already decided early on the competition that they would be, crowning some of the girls that are rumored to be like favorites. And this is why we've seen, Brazil, Ecuador making, top 5. But gagawa tayo ng tsaa for that later on because there are some things na I cannot reveal here on our live stream that I'm more confident to be revealing inside the safer space of the tsaa session. So please do wait for that. YouTube user 1329. Sir, nanood ka ba ng MGPH sa MOA? Actually, hindi. I've heard feedback from, fellow na mga pageant media that very glossy yung stage design is very good. Maganda yung LED, medyo nasobrahan nga lang daw sa hagdanan. So may mga girls that struggled with that. So I think that perhaps in the future, girls would really need to be more conscious on their pasarela, especially if maraming stairs. So moving forward, I think a lot of our pageant hopefuls need to be very technically proficient when it comes to their pasarelas, because we do know na ang MGI and MGPH would more likely to look for a girl who is very much comfortable on stage. Now, with regards doon sa haba ng pageant, that's not something that is surprising na umabot ng mahigit 5 oras or roughly around 5 hours yung pageant, because that has something that we've been experiencing since time immemorial with ALV. Remember yung batch ni Tracy Maureen Perez that the Miss World Philippines pageant took like 7 hours, to the point that siguro naubusan na ng sugar sa katawan si Tracy, that natumba siya ng ilang beses on stage. So that's not very surprising for me. I think a fellow blogger, a vlogger, si RJ Ignacio, also mentioned this, na ang super haba ng tawag dito ng pageant, that it kinda took out a little bit of the excitement, a little bit of the a little bit of the energy, because ang daming segments na kudaan, ang daming segments na could be trimmed off and left out of the pageant. So, yun. Here's the thing, YouTube user 1329, kasi he is asking, what's your analysis, sir, on first wang not placing higher? I think there are a lot of reasons for that. I think, but perhaps there's two things that we need to consider. Una, nakikita na rin naman kasi sa mukha ni First Wang yung edad niya. So I think that's one of the more easily plausible na reasons that we can pinpoint, or we can point out. First Wang looked her best. Siguro when she competed on her second try, sa first try niya sa MUT. I think that was her like peak na moment in terms of yung physicality, yung face, yung body and everything. Of course, hindi nawala yung strong na pasarela niya. I don't think that is something that nawala ever kay First, but you can see talaga that age has factored in. Ang daming nagmukhang bugbog sa Botox yung mukha niya in Miss Supranational, and I don't think na nakaganda yon or nakaangat yon or nakadagdag yon ng mga points for her. I think that is something na tinake advantage ng mga Latinas this year, because a lot of the Latinas, I think, or I feel, are really gorgeous, facially gorgeous, at yun yung panlaban nila doon sa experience ni First Wang. The second theory that I have why she didn't move past top 24 is perhaps nakaapekto din yung pagsali ni Antonia Porcil, former Miss Supranational sa MUT ngayon. So, I am not sure, guys, kung that has something or that has bearing in the judging. But definitely for me, it could probably have affected yung kanyang chances. So, ayan, medyo marami-rami na tayo. Before we continue pala, can you please leave a thumbs up doon sa pa-live natin, just so may just so may mga taong makakita at ma-activate yung algorithm, so that it would show our live stream to more people. Okay, sige, let's go with the comments muna. So unahin na natin yung mga comments before yung aking mga notes here kasi medyo marami na ang mga comments ninyo. Okay, Ping says, magandang gabi. Hello, Ping. How are you? I hope you're safe and dry wherever you are. Will Garcia is here. Hello, Will. Kumusta? Will says, hi, Sir Jason. Sabay kayo ng live ni Tita L. Sad for Patra Porn's ending sa top 12. She deserved in the top 5, replacing Vietnam. Kailan ang Mister Supra? I thought tonight ang Mister Supra. I think, wait lang. Kasi nag-post si, what do you call this? Si International Paul and si, si Supra Thailand, mentioning that the Mister Supranational is this evening. So let me double check. Let me just go on Instagram. Give me a couple of seconds to go check para sure lang tayo. Okay, and there's no mention here. Wala pa ako nakikita. Sandali lang. Let's scroll. Aha, walang naka-post. So, let me check na lang yung Supra account ng Supra Thailand. Kasi, they're the ones na mas updated. Okay, so here, the final competition for Mister Supranational Thailand is, wait lang, naka-Thai siya na script. Let me just translate it. It says tonight. So, pag sinabing tonight, that would mean maybe around 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning here in the Philippines. So, pagpasensyahan nyo na kasi mukhang magpupuyat ulit kayo ngayon, ngayong gabi. On my end, I'm just gonna watch the replay. For sure, by then, mas refreshed akong magbigay ng insights kapag natapos na yung pageant because I can just forward yung what you call this, forward yung mga moments na hindi natin gustong panoorin, like yung pagkadami-daming mga kanta-kanta. I think this is something na if you haven't noticed yet, I think this is something that European pageants have in common, that there's so much like performers, whether it's Miss Globe, whether it's Supranational, that is something that I noticed, that there's like concerts within the pageant. So there. Okay, going back doon sa sinabi ni Will, sabi niya kasi sad for Patra Porn's ending sa top 12. She deserved to be in the top 15 replacing Vietnam. I kinda agree. Although siguro in the top 5 ipapasok ko si Peru, because Peru did well. I think Peru, for most pageant pages, whether it's Missology, International Poll, Sash Factor, even Global Beauties, siya yung parang nakalagay na top 1. She's the one that they placed as the top, top pick for the Miss Supranational na title. So it's kind of shocking that Peru did not make top 5. Okay, Hajiev, sir, next year, tayo na win, basta wag gawin sa backstage ang crowning ng local org. Char lang po, smiley face. Hajiev, technically by next year, they will have their own pageant. So it's going to be a separate pageant away from Miss Universe Philippines. Hindi rin nakaganda kasi dun sa image ng pageant na backstage lang yung crowning ng dalawang secondary titles. So, okay. Nasaan na tayo? JB says, isa yan sa mga reason kung bakit gumawa ng sariling live stream ang ALV, kasi alam nila na mahaba talaga pageant nila. Lugi kasi kung may TV network partners sila na may 3 hours lang. I think how to say this, Diyos ko Lord, mapapahamak tayo sa iniisip natin. Um, ah, the thing kasi with, with block time sa any network is that you pay for the airtime. So, maybe siguro kaya nagsarili ng live stream ang ALV Pageant Circles through their ALV TV na website dahil nga either they can monetize it, they can earn advertising revenues doon sa pasingit-singit na na mga commercials on it. So maybe yun yung isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit ganun ang nangyari. However, I think trademark na ng mga ALV pageants yung masyadong mahabang mga finals, and hindi na dapat tayo nagtataka or nagugulat at this point in time because halos lahat ng mga ALV talents ni Sir Arnold nagpe-perform sa tawag nito sa finals. So let's just wait and see na lang is if in the future ganito pa din yung mangyayari because we're hoping that ALV would learn how to time management his pageant kasi it's too much, it's too long. 3 hours nga medyo mahaba na yon unless the pageant is really entertaining. Pero if ganyan na 5 hours, 6 hours, tapos ang daming kuda in between, I think that's too much. Hajiev says, I think Antonia affected first Wang's placement din. So, pareho din tayo naiisip Hajiev. Sabi ni JB, 3 hours block time sa GMA, millions na nga, kaya nga lumipat ang MWPH sa CNNPH kasi mas mura. Kaya ngayon, may ALV TV, mas hawak nila oras nila. Di na nagmamadali kasi pag overtime, the more bayad sa TV network. So, yeah, that's probably it. But again, 3 hours is something that's more than enough in terms of delivering content in a national pageant. So, kung nagawa nga ng Binibining Pilipinas na maging on time at mabilis yung pacing, I don't understand why other national pageants cannot do so. Especially mga pageants ni ALV. Will Garcia says, rooting for Luis Portelas for Mister Supra. Ayan, okay. Since bumalik tayo sa topic ng Mister Supranational, let's talk about the Supranational results, okay? Kasi there is one thing that I noticed with our attitude when it comes to the results of the Miss Supranational pageant. I understand that the Filipino fans, we all are rooting for our own Pauline Amelinckx to win the pageant. However, I particularly find it distasteful that when we lose, we tend to put blame on the actual winner, why we didn't win. Because it's unfair that we give so much flack on Andrea Aguilera for winning Miss Supranational 2023 simply because I think she did her job. Among the preliminary performers, it was actually for me, at least, it was Peru, it was Andrea, and it was Sankler of Brazil who really stood out for me. And perhaps Valentina Mora of Colombia. To a certain degree, because I would rather categorize Colombia as a dark horse in the pageant. However, in terms of the actual performance, yung black gown ni Sankler, yung red gown ni Andrea, yung performance niya sa swimsuit competition, I think that really cemented her as a possible threat. In fact, I have a artwork na I was supposed to post yesterday afternoon bago mag-start ang Miss Supranational, that my pick for Miss Supranational is more likely be going to Ecuador because of her overall performance during the preliminaries. And for us na pageant fans to be very up in arms against her when she just did her job as a representative of her country, I think she did her best in order to win the title, much like Pauline. If there is someone that fans should be, should be criticizing, it should not be Andrea, but rather put the blame on the judges and the organization because they're the ones who have control on who wins, not Andrea. So it makes us kasi look like we're sore losers because we couldn't accept the judges' pick. If we're going to move forward in the future in any pageants, I think that the best thing that we can, we can do so that we don't become negative or bitter or accused as sore losers, sour grapers in any pageant that we participate in, is that if the girl who wins the title is not to our liking, we question the judges, the organization for that choice. We should not be putting the blame on the winner. Kasi hindi naman kasalanan ng winner na siya yung ipinanalo. So, I think, as Filipinas, we need to have this conversation where we really need to start maturing up and have mature conversations on winning and losing pageants. Hindi porke ibinigay ng candidate natin lahat ng kaya niyang ibigay sa competition, automatic she's going to win. Sometimes we have to consider that luck, has something to do with the outcomes, because sometimes nataon na yung mga judges, the one that they have a bias towards to, or they have a inclination towards to, that they feel would be perfect in terms of the title, might be different from our perspective. So we need to be able to to play nice and be able to respect that. Kasi kung titignan naman natin yung performance ni Andrea doon sa not just the preliminaries but doon sa finals, sa swimsuit pa lang alam na natin na threat siya. So I do hope that moving forward, tayong mga Pinoy, we acknowledge that there are also several other girls that are equally deserving doon sa title. And I think na if there is something that we should be looking at, is kung titignan natin yung mga top picks ng Sociology, ng Global Beauties, ng Sash Factor, International Poll, All for the Crowns, and several other pageant pages, consistent that Andrea is on the top 5. In fact, karamihan dun sa mga nabanggit kong pageant pages, their top title, their top pick is actually Peru. Si Valeria. So, it does make sense na mas malaki yung panghihinayan ng mga Peruvians on Peru not winning, not making top 5 over our gripe that we didn't win the title. Because if we're going to be honest, if we look at the pageant pages, Pauline's placement is not consistently on the top 5. She's in some cases at the top 10 or even at the top 15 in other pageant pages. And basing our observation on that, we really need to be very objective with the way that the judging panel selected their winner. We have to understand, Miss Supranational picking a winner that is the Miss Supranational prototype is something that we cannot control. We really have to relieve ourselves of the authority that we think we have over selecting a winner. I think that is, one of the most painful things that we need to learn about ourselves as pageant fans because we gotta mature. May mga factors tayong hindi nakikita. There are a lot of, fans saying that yung Q&A palpak, that Ecuador did not deliver the answer with succinctness or with intelligence like what Pauline delivered. However, we also have to think na baka there is something that was lost in translation during her Q&A that we might not have understood. Perhaps if we are native Spanish speakers, then we might have understood yung thought much more intelligently. So I do hope that moving forward, we become a little bit more mature, a little bit more understanding that there are factors outside what we see during the finals that could have affected the choice of winner. Because we have to understand that the judges would probably have formed in their minds a possible top 5, top 3, or a possible winner after seeing them at the preliminaries. If at the preliminaries, nakitaan na nila na si Andrea yung pinaka-bet nilang, manalo based on beauty of face, based on beauty of figure, based on on-stage presence and pasarela, then kahit na hindi swabe o hindi pulido yung performance niya on the Q&A, that would become immaterial. Because enamored na sila doon sa nakita nila sa kanya in the performance pa lang. And we know for a fact that Miss Supranational is not necessarily a Q&A heavy na pageant. We've learned this like in the past that originally wala ngang Q&A ang Miss Supranational, and for us to pin our hopes that the Supranational Q&A, final Q&A, diyan manggagaling yung winner, that is something that we have to manage our expectations on, because the reality is that is not the end all be all of winning that title. Apparently, you can perform, and then they would look at your overall performance over a minuscule scoring on the Q&A. So apparently Q&A is not a big chunk of the scoring, if that's the case. So we need to find a candidate moving forward that fits the bill in terms of the physicality that these pageants are looking at. Kaya kung minsan napapag-mix, we get to intermix the supranational versus the grand na mga pageants, because they are looking at the candidates and looking at the physicality more than the intellect. So we have to reconcile that aspect on our expectations and what they are looking for in a winner. So if next time physical yung gusto nilang physical yung na beauty yung gusto nilang manalo, then we give that to them. I'm not saying that Pauline did not do her job or Pauline did not do her best. She did with the very limited preparations that she had. She gave it her all. But body-wise, she's not the prototype. She's not the supermodel na svelte na Victoria's Secret na prototype that we see on Andrea's body. I think that is something that the Miss Supranational pageant would still have to learn how to break the mold on. Kasi if between someone as Pauline na medyo boxy yung kanyang katawan over Andrea na korteng gitara, then we might have to reconsider who we send to the supranational pageant based on physicality alone. But if supranational would evolve would grow and be more accepting of different body types sa mga possible winners nila, then I believe, Pauline would have been the perfect girl to send that message. So, let's see na if moving forward, we will see Supranational, evolving towards, that kind of winner in the future. So, I do hope na I was able to address that topic, well, nang hindi tayo nakaka-offend, because I think at this point in time, marami pa yung mga Filipino fans na galit sa nangyari or galit dun sa resulta. Pero sana moving forward, wag nating sisihin yung nanalo, dahil hindi niya kasalanan na siya yung pinili. Ang sisihin dapat natin is yung mga pumili. We need to separate yung frustration natin on the org and the judges versus the one who won. So, because if we keep on doing that, if we continue doing, blaming the winner for winning, and that is something that is, terribly wrong because she's innocent in all of this, then unti-unti tayong nag-iipon ng masamang karma. So I do hope that moving forward, we'll learn to accept, the winner and put the blame where the blame should go. Ask the questions to the judges, to the organizations, why Andrea won over, over Pauline. Because they are the ones who is more likely to be able to explain why, not the girl, not the winner. So I do hope, medyo mas kalma nating i-approach itong subject nito, because this is not something na ikakaganda ng image ng Filipino pageant fandom. So I do hope that we become a little bit more mature in dealing with these kinds of frustrations. Okay? Now, okay. Okay. Nasaan na yung mga comments? Will Garcia says, rooting for Luis Porteles for Mister Supranational. I am also rooting for Luis. I am hoping na a podium finish, maybe a 1-2-3 finish, either a winner or a runner-up finish would be something that will be awarded to him. I am hoping na magkaroon ng representation on our end, on the LGBTQIA plus na community in male pageants. And I think Luis would be the perfect person to be able to do that. Luis, for me, would be a great asset for the Mister and Miss Supran organization, because kuha niya ang quality ng pageant fandom. He's able to, to get the fandom's trust. And if Supranational thinks this strategically, I think their best bet is to put Luis as a runner-up, as first runner-up, in order to maximize yung goodwill na dinadala ni Luis doon sa pageants. So, let's discuss that a little bit later, yung mga favorites natin for the Mister Supranational na title. And let's move on muna on the comments. Nasaan na tayo? I think it's Belladonna. Belladonna, hello, good evening. Kumusta? And let's now read your comment. Okay, your thoughts. I would rather lose the latter than lose your intellectual capacity, as you sound messy when answering. Okay, I don't know which are you pertaining, kasi medyo hindi ko gets yung context ng comment mo. Okay, Don Aragon Vlog says, wala na po bang Miss World Philippines sa taon na ito? Mukhang nilagay na lahat ng crowns sa nakaraan na MGIPH. Okay, Don. There won't be a Miss World Philippines, I believe, na local search this year, because sa December pa o sa November pa mangyayari yung Miss World. So, it doesn't make sense na mangongorona na tayo dito ng local na representative kung hindi pa nakakapag-compete si Gwendolyn Forniol. So, let's hope na matuloy na yung Miss World na finals ng December so that by next year we can select a new Miss World Philippines na title holder. Kasi kung hindi nyo nalalaman, yung Miss World na pageant mismo, they were supposed to have it around last year ng December, tapos na-move ng April this year, and then na-move na naman ng August, and then na-move na naman ng November, December this year. So, I do hope that medyo matigil na yung moving at postponement ng pageants na to para hindi naman tayo naghihintay ng na walang kasiguraduhan kung makakapag-compete si Gwen. So, unahin na muna siguro nating isipin na magkapag-compete muna si Gwen before we think of a national competition for Miss World Philippines. Okay? Hindi lang. Lagok lang ako ng water and we should all be staying hydrated. Also, dun sa mga bagong dating, please do leave a like on our live stream ngayon para mas marami ang makikita ng ating pa-live stream on the YouTube through the YouTube algorithm. Okay, CC says, bakit po kaya hindi invited past MGPH Queen sa coronation? Ali Forbes was present during the launching. That I am not sure on the lack of past queens representation during the launch ng bagong pageant na to because I am not aware sino yung inimbitahan. For sure, may mga winners tayo, mga binibining Pilipinas winners tayo ng MGPH na title in the past na hindi pupunta because of perhaps their loyalty with Binibining Pilipinas, and I understand that. We have to be open to the thought na there are some girls na might not want to even relive their experience with that pageant. Sa pagkakaintindi ko, hindi lahat ng mga Binibining Pilipinas Grand natin na mga winners came home with a positive experience. Of course, these negative experiences are not necessarily something that they are open to talk about, in public. But in private, I think there are some girls na are not very happy to talk about their experience in that pageant. So most likely, their loyalties will remain with Binibining Pilipinas. So that could be the main reason why marami sa kanila ang hindi nagpunta ng launching nitong bagong pageant. Hajiyef, sabi niya, I think Pau did her best sa kudaan. Missing lang yung slay. Ika nga ni Sovereign, kulang sa slayage. Important pa naman sa Supra ang slay. So, okay na ang first runner-up. I agree. I understand na we are all harping on her communication skills because dun siya talagang it's the area of the competition where Pauline made a killing. But we have to understand that performance seems to be have heavier weight in the overall scheme of things over the Q&A portion. Rodvin Fiel is present. Hello, Rodvin. How are you? And welcome to the live stream. JB, sabi niya, sa tingin mo, sir, sinong best girls na ipadala natin for Supra 2024? To be honest, I was really harping na and banking on the possibility na ang ipadala natin sa Supra is si Krishna Gravides, because simply put, Krishna has the best body, has the best face in among the top 5 winners of Miss Universe Philippines this year. pag itinabi mo yung mukha ni Krishna with Pauline, with Michelle, I find that Krishna has the more universal, the more international na face that any international na or any foreigner would find her really gorgeous. So in terms of face tick, in terms of pasarela, I would say that in terms of overall performance during the Miss Universe Philippines, si Krishna Gravides yung pinakaangat in terms of technical performance, whether it's in swimsuit or evening gown, among the three winners, among the three main, winners of NUPH. So, for me, I still stick to yung thoughts and opinions ko before that between Pauline and Krishna. Krishna would have been the better option for Miss Supranational. Okay, John Snow 79. Sir Jason, hi Jason. Much better siguro kung tinanggal na lang nila yung final question sa na segment para hindi halata yung preference nila from the beginning. Parang Miss International na memorized declamation. Hindi rin natin masabi kasi baka mamaya yung final Q&A, they just needed that to buy more time kung merong naka-block na airtime sila doon sa kanilang pageant. So maybe it has a minuscule na effect doon sa overall scoring. But I do hope na despite that, yung overall scheme of things, sana medyo ni average nila yung mga performances on each segment of the competition. Because from how I see it, it looks like mas malaki yung percentage ng points that you get on the technical performance over the Q&A. PF Chicago. With Pauline landing first runner-up, will this boost the popularity of Supranational with Philippine fans and forget that this franchise acted like a paru-paru? PF Chicago, that's a tough question. Kasi on one hand, I am thinking that this would be a good plot for the Supra org to gain favorable views among fans, among Filipino fans. But at the same time, I think it backfired yung intention nila because siguro kung second runner-up na lang nila si Pauline at hindi yung umasa tayo na tayong mananalo doon sa Final 2, baka siguro mas soften pa yung blow sa atin kung ang nag-first runner-up is, let's say, si Brazil because of the way that she answered her question. Pero, ang hirap din kasi ang hirap na balansehin itong result ng Supra because, one, ang mga Filipino fans, feeling ko, malaki na yung pagka-turn off nila doon sa pageant. With that being said, I also think that there is no other way for Supra to gain our trust but to give a high placement for our reps. So I think Supra was playing with their cards to gain favorable views sa ating mga Pinoy na fans. So, I don't know. Maybe hindi nyo nararamdaman yon, but for me, I think that is something na nakikita kong gagawin nila or ginagawa nila, much like how they pandered with the Indonesians in the past. Okay, Sisi, bakit po kaya Bragais din sponsor sa MGPH pero hindi na sa BBP? Di naman pala siya exclusive sa MUP. That I do not know. But because siguro dahil sa mga chismis ngayon na wala na rin sa MUPH yung MU na franchise. So, maybe he has the opportunity na mag-provide ng sponsorship sa ibang mga national pageants. So, isa din kasi yan sa mga mga tinitignan ng karamihan ng mga media and pageant pages. Yung sponsorship kasi if there is a lock-in sponsorship tapos biglang nag-sponsor sa iba, baka naman may nangyaring kalasan na nangyari. Okay? Where are we na? Si Belladonna, whether Pauline gave the best or worst answer during the top Q&A, the result is the same. Miss Ecuador was clearly the judge's choice. Get what I mean? Yes, I know. Kinutubad ako na it's going to be a Latina who is going to win this year. I was debating whether it's, Sancler France or it's Andrea Aguilera or possibly even, Valentina Mora ng Colombia who's going to possibly win, or it's going to be Peru. Lahat ng mga pageant pages, they are saying na it's going to be a Latina domination this year. So nakita naman natin na tawag ito na yung nanalo is a Latina. And yes, clearly she was Peru, Ecuador was a favorite of the judges. Sana ba tayo? Belladonna says, during the Supra Top 5 Q&A, you can see who has the proper training. It's Pauline's edge of the others, and she indeed excelled. If having the proper training loses authenticity in conveying your thoughts, I would rather lose the latter than lose your intellectual capacity as you sound messy when answering. Okay, si Samber, wait, no. Okay. Si Cici pala to. Samber was not invited daw, sabi niya. Okay. Si Ali Forbes naman, may IG stories na about less expectation. Baka hugot niya kasi nasa launching siya pero wala sa finals. JB says, ano ba issue kung bakit nag-iiba na naman ang host country ng MW? Like this year, Dubai sana pero naiba na naman. Tapos dati Thailand, tapos balik London na naman. Okay, JB, usually kapag ganyan na nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa venue, usually finances yung unang-unang nagiging dahilan why hosting does not happen. And it's very difficult to host an international competition anywhere in the world if there's no government involvement there. I think that is something that we all should be aware of by now, dahil hindi lahat ng mga mga countries like the Philippines have a good infrastructure in terms of government support. So I think we have to we have to think that perhaps the reason why hindi ganun ka solid kung minsan yung announce na sila ng venue tapos magbabago sila ng venue, it's more likely that finances would be a main cause for such a big decision. CC is asking, may sure pageant na ba si Budol o hahanapan pa? That we're not aware of, but I am sure sa dinami-dami ng mga pages, mga tourism pageants, meron at merong mahahanap si AFV na competition for her. Okay, Rodville Fiel, I agree with Krishna. Kung kaya na siyang ipadala sa Supra next year, assuming na di niya makuha ang charm title, then I think na malakas ulit ang laban natin. And I think by then, mas naayos na yung kanyang communication skills, mas na-practice na niya yung paano makipagsalamuha with the language. And it is more likely that maybe by then, she's much more confident in the way that she expresses herself in English. So I do hope na there is a chance or there is a possibility that she is sent to Supra in the future. Or kung sakali man na ano, kasi bata pa naman si Krishna, kung malipat sa ano sa ibang franchise yung MUPH na pageant, then sali siya ulit sa MUPH. Okay, Saldi Salen, magkasabay po kayo ng live ng isang pang favorite kong reliable beauty pageant vloggers. Switching talaga ako. Pasensya na, I usually do my live stream every Saturday. So, tawag ito, I don't want naman na encroach ng tawag ito ng live stream ni Tita ng linggo. So, there. EF Chicago, I haven't been paying attention as much with NUPH. I'm just not interested with that franchise. What were the signs that they don't have the franchise? Well, first off is yung finals nila nung Mayo, pero Kun An was not there during the finals. If you are a pageant owner and you are in the country, in the Philippines, for business opportunities, bakit wala ka doon sa mismong finals ng pageant na pag-aari mo na nagpo-finals sila doon sa araw na tawag ito, nandito ka sa Pilipinas. Parang it kinda doesn't make sense na you're here for Miss Universe, pero on the finals of the Miss Universe Philippines, wala ka mismo. And with the rumors that he was, or rather she was, having meetings with several groups for the pageant franchise negotiations, that's kinda alarming. Then the second thing is, nagbago yung logo ng MUPH, and usually if you have the franchise under you, kasama doon sa terms of agreement ninyo is the usage of the logo. Unless you no longer own the franchise, you cannot use the Miss Universe logo dahil pwede kang maihabla. Pwede kang makasuhan ng copyright infringement. So, that is one of the signs that we are looking na bakit kinakailangan yung magbago ng logo ninyo kung pag-aari nyo pa yung franchise, because kasama yun sa agreement, definitely, that you can use the Miss Universe logo in whatever shape or form na nakalagay din sa agreement. John Snow 79, hi Jason ulit. Kita mo ba reaction nila Lela crowning ni Betsin as runner-up? Daming gulat na nakapasok siya. Related lang sa recent post mo. Di ba? Sabi ko naman sa inyo if kaya mo magpa-Taylor Swift, pwede kang kumorona, pwede kang alam mo na, 'di ba? So asahan mo patago na nangyayari 'yan, yung ganyang mga arekluhan. At hindi ako nagtataka kasi mangyari din siya dito sa Supra, pero it's not as blatant as yung sa Intercon. Na-chichi ko na yan, na-tsaa ko na yan before. Basahin nyo na lang yung tsaa ko dun sa mga mahilig magpa-Taylor Swift, and magugulat talaga kayo doon sa depth ng pwedeng gawin ng pera. Wait, nasaan na tayo? JB says, sa bagay, sabi naman sa post ni Voltaire na another year. So, it means binigyan lang sila 1 year, then bidding war again. I'm not sure kung anong post ito ni Voltaire, JB, but I cannot comment kasi hindi ko nabasa itong another year na ito. Okay, PYR or peer, sabi niya, Sir, based on my observation, the only major pageant that values communication communication skills, advocacy, and authenticity is Miss Earth. Beauty for them is secondary. It's a fair and square competition. I kinda agree. Siguro, yung ability to speak, ability to convince people, ability to express your thoughts and have your thoughts and express them, with sincerity and with genuine care and without any halong paandar lang. I think that is what makes Miss Earth endearing din sa mga fans na are not only looking for a beautiful face but someone who is also beautiful in up here and in here. So I think Miss Earth got that fact pat down. Kumbaga, they nailed it. Ang need lang talaga ng Miss Earth is yung showmanship na aspect. Kasi yun yung area na madalas pinupuna ng mga tao on Miss Earth and Miss Philippines Earth. But in terms of all other aspects, on representation, on intellect, in terms of clean results, in terms of deserving winners, wala kang maipintas sa Miss Earth. That is something na pwede nating i-take away with the trolls that's bashing the Miss Philippines Earth and Miss Earth na pageant, because they are among the international pageants one of the least problematic in that sense. So kung ang hinahanap natin is showmanship, hinahanap natin is yung all these glamorous na mga shoots, mga images, ganyan, hindi natin mahahanap yun sa Miss Earth. It's better off that you look somewhere else. You look at Miss Universe, you look at Miss Supranational, you look at Miss Grand International for that. But if you look for authenticity, you look for intellect, if you look for someone who is warm and kind and generous, to their advocacies, then definitely Miss Earth is your pageant. Pensador Zambongueño, hello, good evening. Qualified po ba si Steffi Aberasturi sa Supra? I think she fits the mold ng Supra. I agree. Problem is, hindi pa yata open ang Supra sa mothers. I let me double check on that kasi I think there is a part ng requirements ng Supra na hindi pa sila nag-aalaw ng mga married women sa kanilang pageant. Saldi Salen, thank you. I understand. Saturday ka talaga. But there's no beef between me and Tita. So, carry lang. There's always replay naman, guys. I don't think naman na nakawalan niya o kawalan ko kapag you switch between my channel and her channel. You can have both. You can always, watch the replay or her replay or my replay at your own convenient na time. JB, sa tingin mo sir, sino new owner ng MEPH? Malakas pa rin ba ang GMA7, no? Kinda. Ako ang naririnig ko na more likely daw na baka sa GMA nga siya mapunta. So, let's see. Kasi this is, ganito yun. Kapag may mga insider ng mga people na nag-chichi na, then it is more likely na gumugulong na yung mga tawag ito, yung mga makinarya. So, hintayin natin baka may may katotohanan to na wala na nga or may tawag ito, may nakakuha na. So, let's wait for it. Kasi if the bidding war is mangyari ulit, then again, the one who has deep pockets is the one that gets to, to own the franchise. Alam niyo naman sa panahon ngayon, 'di ba? Wala nang libre. Lahat kinakailangan may bayad na. So, kung wala if you don't have, the finances to show for it, it's hardly likely that you can, you can have the franchise for as long as you want. So, deep pockets, guys. Deep pockets. Always look for deep pockets. The one who can, sustain yung yearly na bidding war. Nasaan na ba tayo? I think it's Mark Gonzalez na. Sandali lang. Let me just drink muna kiss ng unang water. Okay. Mark Gonzalez. Macharis yung comment mo, ha. Sir Jason, lipat pageant din ba si Chantel? She used to be a judge at Miss Earth for several years now. She judged and performed at Miss International. Hihintayin natin kung makaikot siya sa Miss Grand, sa Miss International, sa sa Miss Intercontinental, 'di ba? But I don't see anything wrong with that. She probably is paid for her appearance. So, syempre, sino bang aayaw sa pera, 'di ba? I think ganito lang naman 'yan eh. Pageants nowadays hindi na honor yung makapag-judge ka ng pageants ngayon. There is a financial transaction whenever you are invited to judge an international pageant nowadays, especially kung malaki yung hatak mo. Especially if you're famous, especially if you're well established. Kasi hindi na katulad ng dati na gratis et amore lang ang pa-Taylor Swift ng mga pageants kapag nag-i-invite sila ng judge. Nowadays it's really about financial. It's more of a financial transaction. Okay. Belladonna says, if body proportion and pasarela have more weight over communication skills, what's the point of having the Supra chat? Hence, fan votes are needed for a candidate to make it. Exactly that. Alam niyo naman na yung Supra chat is on YouTube, right? And you know that their YouTube channel is monetized. So, do I need to explain that? Okay, Jon Snow 79. Ano ba to? Bakit ganun? Nawala. Okay, sumabay lang daw MUPH sa pagpalit ng logo ng DOT at PAGCOR. Magkano kaya yung pagpapalit nila? No? 3M din for the Canva looking na logo. Okay, Belladonna, okay, nabasa ko na yan. If body proportion and pasarela have more weight at Supranational, I think this is the perfect pageant for Miss Budol. What do you think? Again, nabanggit ko, body proportion, pasarela, and looks. And facial good looks. JB, yung post ni Sir Joey Abacan, na photo with hello at Miss Ann Gozon. Lakas nun. I agree. I kinda agree. Tapos ang naintriga ako, JB, is yung hawak nilang Manila envelope. Kung ano ang laman. And kung may laman, dokumento ba yon? May pirmahan na ba doon? 'Di ba? So, yun yung part na curious ako dun sa photo. It's not actually yung mga tao involved there in that photo. Kasi I'm 100% sure na they are talking business. But what kind of business? Is it entertainment? Shows? TV shows from GMA7 na pwedeng kunin ni Anne for her businesses in Thailand, or some other kind of business, something related to pageants, 'di ba? Pensador Zambogueño, Sir, sayang yung Supra Canada na na unplaced. She's pretty. I agree. I think nanalo siya sa Binibining Canada. I hope she joins MUP because she's young and proud of her heritage. Before she can even have that, before she can even compete at MUPH, we have to know first if does she has a Philippine passport. Kasi baka isa yun doon sa mga requirements ng joining NUPH, that you have Filipino citizenship. So, I think kasi with Binibining Pilipinas, requirement yon na Filipino citizen ka. Baka mas maluwag ang tawag nito, mas maluwag ang rules sa MUPH, that you only need to have like proof that you have Filipino blood, something like that. So I don't know kung ano exactly yung specifics ng requirements nila. So we might have to check up on that later. Saldi Salen says, dalawa lang ang sa palagay ko with deep pockets. The Arenetas and GMA if ever interested sila. Silang dalawa naman yung ano yung pinag-uusapan ng mga chismosang kaibigan nating mga marites na more likely isa lang dun sa dalawa unless there is a hidden player that we're not aware of. But for sure, kung may hidden player man yan, sooner or later, maririnig din natin yung pangalan na yan. JB Sarmiento, hi Sir Jason, good evening po. I'm binge watching you live and Tita Lavinia, nagsabay po kayo tonight. I didn't know that she's going live. I am actually only informed like minutes before na nag-live ako na live din siya. So as I said earlier, you can have both. You can watch both. There's replay for both. You can switch from one channel to another if you want to go with with the chat options. You can have two screens if you have two phones. Yung isa nanonood sa akin, yung isa nanonood sa kanya, and interact with us. I don't see that as a problem. EF Chicago, if Binibining Pilipinas gets Miss Universe franchise next year, they can just skip Miss International, as we have a 2024 rep already. Kinda agree. So, and anyway, Binibining Pilipinas started with the Miss Universe Philippines, Miss Universe na franchise. So, pwedeng, they can do that. However, hindi siya, hindi siya magandang optics. That's my only concern. Hindi siya magandang optics na posibleng gawin ng Binibining Pilipinas. The best thing that they can do is you have a Binibining Pilipinas winner, a title holder, and you give her the option to either compete in Miss International or compete in Miss Universe, and let it be her choice instead of the organization's choice. I think that's a much better option instead of like making the next edition only a pageant for looking for the next representative for Miss Universe. But again, parang ang daming hadlang doon sa possibility na nasa Binibining Pilipinas ulit ang Miss Universe dahil una sa lahat, stricto na ayaw ng Binibining Pilipinas ng married candidates kasi nga it defeats the purpose na binibini yung title. I think that is one of the things na according to mga rumors, insider rumors na the pageant is not likely to budge on that. So, yun. Baka mahirapan tayo dyan. Okay, sige. Habang naghihintay pa tayo ng mga additional comments, let's now talk about our Mister Supranational na predictions or yung mga favorites natin for Mister Supranational. Um, I think I've already posted this several weeks or several days back. I think Brazil is the more is one of those candidates na you can you can rely on to bring good positive energy into the title. Brazil is a Olympian. So nung 2016, he actually competed in the Summer Olympics held in Brazil that year. He is a swimmer, and I think being part of the Brazilian national contingent that year is an advantage to him this year. Sandali lang, let me just pull up my post on him. He is okay. Ayaw niyang mag-load. He competed in. He's actually I think 6'1". He competed in 2016. I think he went as far as the semifinals of his. I think sa ano siya freestyle and sa butterfly siya nag-compete. I am not sure. I will have to double check on that. But definitely he is one of those guys na if I am a pageant owner, hindi ko palalampasin ito dahil he would generate for me, good media mileage. Kasi meron kang winner na tawag nito, meron kang winner na Olympian, meron kang winner na tawag nito na aside from being physically gorgeous, tall, maganda ang katawan, makarisma, meron kang winner na kapag in-interview on his background, his experience, meron siyang meron siyang bala, meron siyang mga pogi points na pwede niyang dalhin in any conversation. And I think that is very important. Yung ganung klaseng competitor, hindi mo mahahanap yan on a yearly basis. So they might crown him or they might make him win because of the media mileage that they can generate because of his winning, especially because of his him being an Olympian. And hindi mo maikakaila na when it comes to male pageants, Brazil is one of the countries that are consistently sending good-looking, well-prepared candidates. So hindi mo you don't what do you call this? You can expect much from Brazilian candidates to be able to deliver in any competition. And if I'm not mistaken, the Brazilian competition, or rather the Mr. Brazil na competition where he was awarded the supranational title, is also the same organization that handles the preparation, the selection of the Brazilian candidate to Mr. World. So in that case, kung the same organization nga sila nanggagaling, then you would expect that they are selecting really quality candidates. So I am at the mindset that yung si Mr. Brazil this year is the heaviest competitor, the biggest threat to the title. Although I am not discounting other candidates who might win in the competition, pero iba kasi yung dating ni Brazil, kasi meron siyang mabigat na resume na dala-dala. As if tanggalin mo man yung resume niya, yung background niya, he can still go toe-to-toe with all the other candidates. Pero dahil meron siyang baon, kumbaga, mas mabigat tuloy yung dating ng kanyang resume. So we need to be mindful and careful of this candidate, because he will be someone who is going to be a very serious contender, in my opinion. And then, of course, next in my list, I would put in Luis Porteles, because nowadays I'm not just only looking at the physicality of the male of the male candidates, but I'm also looking at what they can bring, what they can be bringing into the table. Hindi na okay, kulang no no kulang ang conversation natin on male pageants if we do not discuss about ano yung mapapala ng organization if they make this certain candidate win. This is the reason why I think Luis Porteles would probably be among the top 3 winners in this year's competition. Probably even a top 5 finish. But I am hoping for a top 2 finish or a top 3 finish for him. Kasi if you make Luis Porteles win Mister Supranational or even a runner-up position, he would definitely use the platform in order to talk about the pageant, and with the multitudes of supporters ni Luis, that would be a bonus, a major bonus for the supranational na pageant. So imagine that. You have a very charismatic pageant vlogger who has thousands of following, who has a very amable na presence, very friendly and amiable and very personable presence to him, and who has a league of pageant friends like us that would create content for him na madadamay ang popularity ng supranational na pageant. So you have essentially here someone who would be like a walking, talking, breathing marketing ad for the Mister Supranational title if they make, Luis win a podium finish. Imagine nyo kung ilang libo, ilang milyong reach nung magagawa ni Luis together with mga friends niya like Tita Lavinia, like me, like Mars France, like Francois, like Jay Barbo. All of these people would create buzz surrounding Luis, and that would benefit the supranational organization as a whole. So imagine that. I don't think na kayang palagpasin yon ng what do you call this ng Mr. Supranational organization. So I am thinking and I am hoping that they do give Luis a platform, that they do give a high placement for Luis come finals. Another candidate that I find interesting is Mr. Poland. I'm sorry, if I'm not familiar with the names. Sandali lang. Try kong hanapin ang mga pangalan nila because I am not quite familiar with all of their names. So yeah. Sige. So Brazil is Enrique Martins. Poland is Daniel. Wait lang. Daniel. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Trax. Daniel Trax. It's Tracz. So there. Ang maganda kasi kay Daniel is that, of course, being Mr. Poland, there is an advantage for him dahil the pageant is happening in Poland, but also he has this very Dolce and Gabbana and very D-squared na look in him. He actually looks like a European model that's walking for this high-end brand. And I agree, Poland is very supermodel looking, and he looks like I don't know, like a kid by Marcus Schenkenberg. If you're familiar with with the supermodels of the 90s, the male supermodel of the 90s. You have, Tyson Beckford, you have Marcus Schenkenberg, you have, oh my god, I forgot the names. Uh, uh, um, Tony something, Tony something. I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name, but yung mga yon, mukha siyang anak ng mga supermodel, male supermodel of the 90s. Yun yung maganda kay Daniel. Square jaw, tapos ang ganda ng kaha ng katawan. I mean, may abs, and ang abs niya parang 8-pack. So, I am not, I am not discounting a possible win ng Polish rep this year. I do, however, am thinking that because of the top 5 placement, dun sa first runner-up placement ni Pauline, there is a possibility that our own Johannes Rissler might be able to crack in the top 5 ng competition. So, I am cautiously optimistic because marami siyang patutumbahin ng mga ibang candidates, like you have Mexico, you have Spain, and Malaysia. Although maliit si Malaysia, Daniel Hansen is a little bit on the like 5'9", 5'8" na side. So definitely in my pageants, height is still. So I am, I have this positive vibes that Johannes might be able to crack the top 5 in this year's competition. And the reason why I think that is kasi nakikita ko na bumabalik yung amor ng Supra sa Pilipinas. I think that they will be pandering for clout sa mga Filipino fans. I think natapos na sila doon sa Indonesian phase nila. So ngayon, I think ang next na mga countries that they will be naliligawan nila, tatagalugin ko na lang, pasensya na tayo, kasi baka mamaya may magsumbong dun sa mga kapitbahay natin eh. Tingin ko, ang susunod na liligawan nila is Vietnam at ang Pilipinas. I might be wrong, but usually itong mga ganitong kutob may pinanggagalingan at nakikita ko na nangyayari, 2 years, 3 years down the line. So, abangan natin ito. I think we are at a position where gumaganda yung image natin. So, hintayin natin na baka ang mangyayari sa mga susunod na taon, tayo naman yung kumorona. Because of the need ng organization na ito na gumanda ulit ang image nila sa mga Filipino fans. So there. And I think, I will take that as an advantage dahil for the longest time, yung mga kapitbahay natin sa baba ang nakinabang ng todo. So if it happens that this will be something that will work on our advantage, I'll take that. Mabuti na yung meron kaysa wala. Okay, and then sino na nabanggit ko? Si Henrico Martins, si Luis Porteles, nabanggit ko na si Poland, si Daniel Trax, and si Johannes Rissler. And siguro yung ikalima, and as much as I would want to put in South Africa, I'm still torn between him and Thailand, si Tops Natanon. So, Tops has the height and the body, definitely. Pero si Tylo kasi magaling magsalita. He is very, very convincing when he talks. Hindi nga lang siya ganong katangkaran. Pero ang ganda ng mukha niya, guwapo siya. So, I am torn between the two kung sinong ilalagay ko doon sa top 5 ko. Pero definitely, whoever is going to make their performance in the finals the strongest, they're definitely going to win. I am not very much invested doon sa magiging outcome ng Mister Supranational this year. Although I am putting my money on Luis and Brazil and Enrique Martins as the possible winners ng top 2 ng Mister Supranational ngayong taon. Comment sa comment section if do you feel this way as well, or if there is someone among the candidates, the Mister Supranational candidates that I failed to notice. Kasi tingin ko ang daming may itsura eh. I mean, if kung pwede lang na 3 ang manalo, why not? I am also looking at Spain at Mexico as possible winners. Ganun karaming gwapo. Ganun karami yung kinakailangan patumbahin ni Johannes if he wants to win, the Mister Supranational na title. Okay, siguro let's start reading some comments. We have here Belladonna, sabi niya, I'm choosing Mr. Cameroon. Again, yun pala, si Mr. Cameroon din. He was one of the top 3 na finalists dun sa Supra model na challenge. Very much a good pick. Sabi ni Bella is his testosterone is overflowing. Of course, Mr. Philippines is also my other pick. Rocco Moreno says, I think favorite ng Mr. Supra si Johannes kasi ilang beses na siya pinakita cheering for Pau. I won't be surprised if he makes top 12. Okay. Sandali lang. Rocco Moreno says, Hi Jason, were you surprised na hindi nakapasok sa Thailand sa top 12? Do you think this proves na di siya deserving noon na maging Miss Intercon? From out of nowhere, bigla siyang nilagay sa top 5 noon. Rocco, I am not sure what happened, but definitely nabanggit ko na yung idea, yung opinions ko on why Patra Porn did not go further. But just for you, my thoughts and opinions on that is either one, yung age niya is it's showing, and 2, possibly nakaapekto yung paglipat ni Antonia from being a Supra winner, tapos nag-MUT siya ngayon. So I am thinking possibly na baka yun yung mga pwedeng nakaapekto ng kanyang chances of winning. Siguro let's scroll back up doon sa mga comments. Wait a minute. Saan ba tayo? Sabi ni Belladonna, I believe GMA7 is the new MU franchise owner. Sabi naman ni Dorothy V. Jones, so proud of what Pauline achieved. There was a point though, as she was closing, when she realized she had processed the question. Her expression confirmed it. The winner just smiled through it. I think Dorothy, malakas din kasi yung malakas din kasi yung, how to say this, malakas din kasi yung performance ni Andrea doon sa swimsuit at evening gown rounds over Pauline. Kapag tignan natin side by side yung performance ni Pauline versus yung performance ni Andrea on the technical aspect, malayo yung proficiency ni Andrea on the presentation skills. So I think that is a point na we have to acknowledge. Dahil if we continue on harping doon sa Q&A, that is just one small, apparently, small aspect of the competition. Hindi siya yung kalakihang parte ng competition in the overall scheme of things. Okay, Dorothy continues that she's very proud of Pauline and her team because they delivered. Ping says, placing Luis Porteras in the top 5 is a win-win situation for Supranational. They will win the LGBTQIA community, and not only that, they will win definitely the Filipino pageant fandom. Kasi malaki ang hatak ni Luis when it comes to the Filipino fandom. Okay? Thank you very much, Rocco, for the generosity. Maraming salamat. It's deeply appreciated. Okay, nasa na ba tayo? Sabi ni Ping, Poland is very supermodel looking. Para siyang model ng guest nung 90s. Ayan, I think nabasa ko na earlier itong comment ni Ping. Okay, nasa na ba tayo? Pensador Zamboangueño, Sir, ano ang chances ni Nikki de Moura? Feeling ko mananalo tayo. If not, nako, ewan ko na lang sa MGI. Okay, thank God, ikaw na yung nagsabi niyan because it is part of our agenda doon sa, doon sa pa-livestream natin ngayon, yung thoughts on, thoughts on Nikki. Kasi si Nikki, I first encountered her doon sa Miss Teen Philippines. In fact, I met her in passing during the Miss Teen Philippines doon sa Novotel. So, that was, I think, several years back. Ang maganda doon is that Nikki, ang nagha-handle kay Nikki is a friend of mine. Harley Tan. He's the one who handles Nikki de Moura. And you would know Harley as someone who has, a keen eye for beauty dahil bago pa man na nagkaroon ng ACES si Pia, si Harley na yung nag-aalaga sa kanya before. So you definitely know that in terms of yung eye for beauty, Harley has that. And we saw that with Nikki as well. My thoughts on Nikki winning is that she is practically perfect for the title. Don't get me wrong. Yes, hindi ko sinubaybayan, hindi ako nagpo-post about this pageant, but I think I can, I'm more comfortable talking about our representative on YouTube dahil dahil hindi siya ganun kahirap na i-discuss. And when Nikki Nikki submitted her application doon sa second screening, I definitely knew that Nikki would be a great rep for either MGI or for Reina Hispano-Americana because of her ability, because of her heritage, because of her DNA. Being half Brazilian, half Filipina, that works for her, tremendously dahil kung sakali man na mag-compete siya sa Reina Hispano-Americana, then maging roommate sila ni Miss Brazil. If she's going to go to Miss Grand later on, then alam naman natin that the reigning queen is Brazilian. And in terms of facial beauty, hindi na lalayo si Nikki. In terms of body proportion, magandang katawan ni Nikki. My only reservation here is that ang uncle ninyo, medyo may pagka-tarantado at kalahati din yan dahil napaka-physical ng kanyang requirements for his pageant. Medyo, pardon the language earlier, his definition of beauty is very exacting and very critical. Very difficult to find and pinpoint for an Asian winner or for even a Filipino winner because if napapansin nyo, karamihan ng mga winners niya hindi bumababa ng 5'9". I think ang isa sa mga, I think even si Ariska 5'9 din pati si Abina 5'9 din. So karamihan ng mga winners niya like si Ania Garcia, the one na dinethrone niya, is 5'11", 6 feet tall. Yung Peruvian na nanalo during sa time ni Elizabeth Clenchie is also around 5'10", 5'11". So, ang hilig niyang kumorona ng mga matatangkad. So, that is probably isa sa mga nakita kong dahilan kung bakit hindi niya ibinigay ang title kay Samantha Bernardo nung nag-compete si Samantha. And, I mean, isipin mo, 1 inch is not very visible kapag pinagtabi mo ang isang 5'9" at sa isang 5'8". That 1 inch is not is not, hindi mo mahahalata, hindi mo mapapansin kapag barefoot sila pareho, tapos may kalayuan sila sa iyo. If they are 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet, or even 10 feet away from you, hindi mo makikita yung diferensya ng isang pulgada. However, ang tsuhin mong may topak, napapansin pa rin yun. So, looking at his, at his track record, parang suntok sa buwan na kumorona tayo ng MGI kung ang ipapadala natin mas mababa doon sa height na gusto niya. And his definition of beauty is very exacting, very limiting. It's not open for, different body types. It's all model-esque, thin, very Victoria's Secret ang katawan. And it doesn't matter if you are a good communicator, as long as in terms of performance, in terms of physicality, nandun siya. Kaya nga, mas magandang ikumpara ang MGI sa Supra dahil halos pareho sila ng hinahanap. It's just like suntok sa buwan na i-compare ang MGI sa Miss Universe or i-compare ang Supranational sa Miss Universe, because sa Miss Universe may weight ang intelligence. Dun sa dalawang pageant na nabanggit ko, itong MGI at Supra, halos iisa yung kartada ng nila ng hinahanap nila na very physical and very technically proficient on stage yung hinahanap nilang possible na winner. So, in terms of Nikki's participation later on sa pageant ni Uncle, pagdasal na lang natin na mag-enjoy siya, that she earns a good placement, because it's so difficult na umasa tayo in this pageant. So I would rather that we manage our expectations, because larochi naman ang uncle nyo when it comes to the results. So I do hope na hindi kayo masyado maapektuhan if we don't earn a high placement. Kasi I think after MGI, si Nikki, bata, may future pa yan, may posible pa siyang salihan ng mga pageants in the future. And I think ang MGI would just be a training ground for her to bigger things. So there. Belladonna says, Mr. USA, okay, balik tayo sa Mr. Supra apparently. With Belladonna, sabi niya si Mr. USA is a possible top 5 contender. He's full of wisdom at such a young age. Ang sabi naman ni Dorothy V. Jones, Johannes won me over because of his charm and apparent confidence, a true Pinoy at heart, and he really moves like a model. Johannes delivered. Ping says, also, I remember before ang gusto ni Nawat na Pinay beauty. Anjapolo says, Hola, I'm glad for Nikki's win, not just because she's got the elegance to carry our sash, but also because it puts a stop on Budol's cheap stage tactics, a dangerous precedent to Philippine pageantry. I think with Nicole Budol, with Herlene, she really needs to how to say this without getting into trouble. She needs to weigh in whether she's doing this for clout or she's doing this because this is something that she's passionate about. Kasi with pageantry, ang bilis mong umakyat in terms of popularity. Pero after 1 or 2 years, after your reign, pageant fans would not mababawasan ka ng pageant fans because the pageant fans would have moved on to the next girl, to the next beauty queen. Ganun ang pageantry. That's just the nature of pageantry that the fans that you have here now might not stick with you for the rest of your career. After pageantry, especially after pageantry. So you need to be very, to manage your expectations because your pageant queens and the fandom that they have, especially if they are based only on yung mga fans ng pageant, they will move on. Mawawala yan unless katulad kanina Catriona na may dedicated na following talaga. So if you want to be in pageants, give it your everything, give it your whole heart kasi hilaw pa talaga si Herlene. I don't think that she's in this because she's passionate. I don't think that she's in pageantry because it's something that she really truly wants. I think she's in this because of the exposure. And that is, in essence, that's a wrong reason. That's the wrong reason to join pageants, in my opinion. I may be wrong. Maybe she is, she is in it because it's something that she really wants. But the thing about pageantry is that whether or not you give your best, things might not turn out and give you the result that you want. So I think it's very blatant doon sa facial expressions ni Herlene when she didn't get the main title because parang pilit yung kanyang smile when she was crowned by Justin Felisarta. So siguro payo sa kanya is that if her heart is in this and if her heart really wants to become a beauty queen, trabahuin niya ng maayos at hindi niya gawing katatawanan yung mga aspeto na hindi dapat gawing katatawanan. Her best participation was during Binibining Pilipinas. Some of these pageants na sinalihan niya bent backwards for her with whatever tantrums or whatever crazy requests that she had. But there comes a time where people will see through you, and this was the thing that happened in the finals of NGPH. Hindi siya nakitaan ng potential as a Philippine representative. And I think that is something that she needs to get a grapple on. She needs to grasp that concept na kahit na sometimes no matter how you like or you want some things, it's the universe that's telling you that not yet. So I do hope na she matures kasi I think she lacks maturity and self-awareness and even some aspects on professionalism and punctuality and general pleasantness, kinakailangan pa niyang ma-acquire yung mga skills on those. So there. Dadalawang oras na tayo nagchichikahan dito. So, okay, let's just read na yung mga final na mga comments ninyo. Nasa na ba tayo? I think we stopped with Pancho Polo. We're now with yung comment ni Pensador Zamboangueño. Sabi niya, nako, ewan na lang si Angkon. Nauubusan na siya ng country sa Southeast Asia para mag-host. Tapos, it would be very difficult to host in the Philippines if hindi siya mag-corona ng first Pinay winner. Agree. So, malay natin na baka naman this time around, si Nikki de Moura na yung ipapanalo niya, di ba? Okay, Powdered Toastman, hi. Speaking of Budol, will she compete internationally since ang gulo ng franchise ng Mysterism World? Maybe she will be given or maybe they will find a tourism-related pageant for so, as I've said, naglipa na ang mga tourism pageants all over the world. That might be an easy problem to solve. Maghanap na lang si ALV ng tourism related na pageant for her to compete in. Pancho Polo, for Budol, it's clearly for clout, according to sabi ni Pancho Polo. This is clear with her ongoing online tiff with her manager, who clearly has eyes at having a foot into pageantry. Dorothy V. Jones says, on the side, I think a future Binibini pageant with a lesser number of titles could take some cues from Supra. Excitement can be built around special awards and advocacies. Ayan, tuloy-tuloy na natin itong mga comments. Sabi naman ni Pensador Zambongueño, si Uncle, madali yan ma-pressure. Obvious na people pleaser. If he pushes the Philippines to host, it would be like just MGI 2019 where he crowned the home court girl. The thing is, baka naman langawin na naman yung kanyang pageant. Kasi, like, nung nangyari doon sa MGPH, mali-mali yung mga desisyon na nangyari doon sa pageant niya dahil naganap during a weekday, hindi weekend. So, syempre, may pasok ang mga tao, may trabaho ang mga tao. Alangan naman na aabsenan nila yung Friday nila para manood ng pageant ng Thursday. Pangalawa, notorious kasi si ALV na mahaba ang pageant niya. So kung kahit sabihin natin nag-umpisa yan ng alas 8, kung umabot yan ng 6-7 oras, then uumagahin talaga yung mga nanonood. And another thing, here in the Philippines, when they say that the pageant will start at 8 p.m., usually it would start at around 9 o'clock, 9:30, or even 10 p.m. We're always delayed when it comes to, pageant finals. So so if you add that with the hours, with the long hour of the finals, then you might be there for like 8 hours, 10 hours waiting for and watching the pageant. So I am just not sure if it's a good idea to have MGPH here in the Philippines, maybe in the next 5 years when the pageant has more favorable views from Filipino fans. Nick P here. Hi Sir Jason. I think this time magkorona na si Uncle ng girl on the shorter side. Engfa last year is one step closer to the crown. Baka this time mag-work with Nikki. Fingers crossed. But again, I'm not expecting anything. Pinag-uusapan natin si Uncle. Ito, from ang basa ko sa kanya, meron siyang narcissistic personality na tendencies, and I don't think na gagawa siya ng mga moves that would please us. It would always be to his liking, to his advantage. Yun yung basa ko sa kanya. So hindi ako quite how to say this? I'm not quite confident that basta-basta niyang ipaubaya sa Pilipinas yung title. Okay? Nasaan na ba tayo? Pancho Polo says he has today issued a PR on owning Mysterism World. Clearly a dig at Herlene's crowning. This year is really about pageants pulling each other's hair. I actually posted something on that as well today. But I think siguro previously, maybe a week or two previously, na-post ko na yung tawag nito, yung circular from Mysterism World that they awarded the legal contract and the legal franchise to Hiyas ng Pilipinas. So I don't know yung dig yung pa-shade nila sa isa't isa, if it was really that. I just think that they made a clarification on that para hindi malito ang mga tao na, oh, bakit may ganito, may ganyan, bakit may tourism title ang MGPH. That might be because yung title nila ibinigay kay Herlene, and hahanapan na lang ng international competition si Herlene later on. Okay, nasa na ba tayo? Powdered Toastman. Question is, does she really want to compete in pageantry or it's her manager's dream? I think you're asking about Herlene. I cannot answer that for you kasi hindi ko sinubaybayan itong pageant na ito. To be honest, I was just only made aware that there's a tiff between her and Sir Will sa mga rumors, and I haven't heard anything from the insiders on that. Okay. Travel Junkie says, ang mga minor pageants, especially MGI, ay di talaga dapat sineseryoso. Wala dapat expectations. Ang harsh. Hola amigo, hola Art Laurent. I hope you're enjoying Spain. PF Chicago, they didn't crown Miss Echo, so they might have a title they can send Budol. Pwede din. However, if you're going to be sending her to Miss Echo, you might want to have someone who can communicate well kasi I think mas technical yung tawag nito, yung Q&A sa Miss Echo na pageant. So you need to be much more immersed on ecological issues. Rocco Moreno, hi Jason, pa-live ka ulit after Mister Supra. Siguro, sige, I will try to manage another live session this coming Sunday to discuss Mister Supra and to discuss any updates na biglang magsisulputan later on, for sure. So, sige, tignan natin. I don't wanna promise, Rocco, because tawag ito, oras yun ni Tita, but maybe if we can move the the live stream at around 8 p.m. baka we can manage that kasi 9 p.m. naman usually nagla-live stream si Tita Lai. Okay, grabe. 2 oras na tayong nagsichikahan dito, may mga comments pa. Okay, last 2 comments na ito from Dorothy V. Jones and Belladonna. Sabi ni Dorothy, how do you solve a problem like Herlene Budol? Easy, she should drop her manager. The manager lives in his own pageant fantasy world. Herlene is just overworked. Okay, Dorothy, there are rumors that tells otherwise. That it's the flip side. That it's the girl that is difficult to work with. I think, okay, basahin nyo na lang yung pachichi ko on this issue kasi what we've been hearing, it's the problem is the other way around. It's not the manager. It's the girl herself. So, yun. I don't wanna comment further. Basahin nyo na lang yung pachichi ko. It's on my website, in my blog site, in sashes.scripts.wordpress.com, or hanapin nyo na lang sa threads ko na account or sa mismong Instagram and Facebook page ko kasi naipaskil ko na yan doon. I don't wanna say more than that kasi nasabi ko na lahat na gusto kong sabihin doon sa pachichi, doon sa patsa ako na yan. Belladonna says there's a big difference between being fluent in English and having no brains at all on Miss Budol's communication skills. I think Herlene's intelligent but she's not conversant. I think that's what you're trying to say. It's not a measure of weakness yung capability to speak English, but it's the ability to be able to converse in any language that you're comfortable with, And yun yung tingin ko doon bumabawi sa Herlene. She's actually very sharp, astute, but the way that she is able to communicate, yun lang yung nakakaproblema. Tingin ko may laman dito sa taas. It's the way that she expresses herself that needs work. Saldi Salen, oh my, baka magsabay na naman kayo ni Tita L. I'll try Saldi to do it at around 8 o'clock para hindi kami mag-overlap. Nick P, baka wala daw po pala si Tita bukas. Hehe, not sure pa daw, sabi niya kanina kasi nag-live na din siya. Powdered Toast Man says, pati, gusto ko yan. Nagpatsaa na ako earlier today, Powdered Toast Man. And usually all my patsaas are in my IG account, in my Facebook account, or in my blog site, in my website. Belladonna, I don't think Mr. Nawat was blind with the outcome of Miss Grand Philippines final show. It's already an eye-opener for him. I think the time when he went on a mall tour and walang tao na nagpunta several months back, I think that is an indication. That should have been an indication for him. That should have been like a wake-up call to him, because what happened in MOA, where 10 minutes, 20 minutes before, the pageant start, na wala pa rin tao, that should have been a wake-up call to him. Okay? Ayan, guys, pasensya na. It's already like 2 hours itong live stream natin. This is actually not my plan na umabot tayo ng ganito kahaba sa mga pa-live stream natin. I usually plan our live streams to be like 1 hour, 30 minutes max. And ganyan lang tayo nagkaroon ng ganito ulit na kahabang live stream. So thank you very much for everyone who has been here, who, nandito sa ating live stream at sumubaybay doon sa haba-haba nating pinag-usapan. Salamat sa mga nag-like sa ating live stream. I do hope that before we end our live stream, please leave a thumbs up doon sa live stream sa episode natin today para mas maraming tao ang makakita, makapanood sa atin, and makapag-grow tayo together ng ating community here on YouTube. Okay, final mga comments. Sabi ni Powder Toastman, okay, see ya po. I do hope na tawag nito na we have enough time on Sunday to have a short live stream session. Rocco Moreno says, good night, Jason. See you soon. Good night din, and thank you very much for your generosity. So that's it, guys. See you again in our next live stream. Please do leave a thumbs up on our live stream session. Subscribe to our channel if you are not yet subscribed, and let's grow our community here in YouTube. Okay? If you have Threads pala, please do follow me on Threads. It's the same handle at Sashes&Scripts official. Okay? Bye everyone, and thank you. Ayan, Otan, hello, sabi ni Otan. Nick P, nag-like and subscribe na po ako, sabi niya. Thank you very much. See you again soon. I will make the announcement if magla-live stream tayo tomorrow, once that I get more updates to discuss with you guys. Salamat, and see you again soon. Bye and take care.